Picture the pristine, organized world of financial compliance. Every transaction is neatly logged, every file is perfectly accessible. It's beautiful, right? Now imagine someone dropping a grenade of absolute chaos right into the middle of that world. That's exactly what we're looking at today. Prohibited books and records conduct. We're talking about the exact ways that vital record trail, the one that supports all those reconciliations and reporting, can completely fall apart.
But hey, before we watch the compliance department burn to the ground, a quick shout-out. This explainer is brought to you by CertFuel. They've got a fantastic, full Series 99 course loaded with adaptive study quizzes, smart flashcards, and unlimited practice exams that are weighted exactly like the real thing. It is literally everything you need to prep. Check it out at certfuel.com. Okay, let's dive into this.
Today, we're looking at an agenda I like to call Ollie's 3 steps to a compliance disaster. We're going to cover falsification and inaccurate entries, then improper maintenance of records, and finally, improper retention and access.
And to keep us from falling asleep while studying these regulations, let's meet our cast of characters. First up, we have Ollie, the operations associate. Now, Ollie means well, but the guy is an absolute magnet for regulatory catastrophe. Next is Kara, the client, who really just wants her trades handled properly. And finally, there's Sam, the supervisor, whose blood pressure literally spikes every single time Ollie logs into a computer. So let's see exactly how Ollie ruins his firm's records today.
Act 1. 1. Falsification and inaccurate entries.
So Ollie is handling a routine transaction for Kara, the client. But before we get to his inevitable mistake, we need to know the baseline rule. The accurate record requirement states that records of transactions, cash movements, securities movements, account activity, and financial condition must accurately reflect the underlying activity. Simple enough, right? So what exactly is falsification? The definition is creating, altering, or causing a record to be inaccurate. I want to stress this. It's not just a cartoon villain taking a giant eraser to a ledger. Which brings us to our very first disastrous scenario. Ollie is sitting at his desk drinking a massive 32-ounce iced coffee. He trips and he spills it all over Kara's ledger, making the trade date totally unreadable. Pause this explainer right now. Did Ollie just falsify the record? Seriously, take a second and actively apply the definition we just talked about.
Okay, welcome back. If you said no, it was just a clumsy accident, you just fell into a massive exam trap. Falsification absolutely includes causing a record to be inaccurate. The test writers love this trick. They want you to think falsification requires malicious intent, like you're actively trying to defraud the firm. But no, simply causing it to be inaccurate is enough. Ollie caused the inaccuracy with his giant coffee, therefore the record is falsified.
Now, what's really interesting here is the overarching why behind the rule. Take a look at this quote. An entry that does not accurately reflect the underlying activity defeats the requirement for complete, current books and records. The whole firm relies entirely on that record trail. So a false or incomplete entry, even a totally accidental one, completely defeats the purpose of keeping records in the first place.
Let's move to Act 2. 2. Improper maintenance of records.
So Ollie realizes his coffee spill was a massive blunder, and he rushes to fix it. Let's look at this side by side to understand the nuance. Over on the left, the accurate record requirement demands that the record reflects the underlying activity. Simple. But on the right, we have improper maintenance. This is defined specifically as failing to make required records, failing to keep them current, or failing to maintain required detail. So Ollie frantically types up a brand new record for Kara. He successfully makes the record, but in his rush to cover his tracks, he leaves out one of Kara's required account details. Time for another active recall test. Pause for a second. Is the record still considered current if it's just missing one little box of information? And boom, another exam trap. Improper maintenance absolutely covers a missing required detail. A current record is legally considered incomplete when just one required field is missing. It really doesn't matter if 99% of the record is absolutely flawless. By failing to maintain the required detail, Ollie's firm now officially has incomplete books. All right, Act 3. 3. Improper retention and access.
Enter Sam, the supervisor, who asks Ollie to pull Kara's file. Before we see what Ollie does, let's look at the underlying logic of improper retention in this matrix. Improper retention basically happens in 2 ways. The first conduct is destroying or deleting a required record before the preservation period ends without leaving a compliant, preserved, or reconstructible record. Why does it fail? Because the firm cannot satisfy the applicable preservation period. The second conduct is concealing or losing access too early. And why does that fail? For the exact same reason. The firm cannot satisfy the preservation period.
So, Ollie, utterly terrified of Sam seeing the incomplete file, does the unthinkable. He grabs Kara's perfectly intact physical file, climbs onto his desk, and panic hides it inside the office ceiling tiles. Pause again. Did he violate the retention rule if the record is perfectly safe and hasn't been destroyed?
Let's reveal it. Yes, he did. And this is a huge exam trap. A record is improperly retained even when it still exists. The firm must not allow concealment or loss of access before retention ends. If the firm, or in this case, a panicking operations associate, makes a required record inaccessible before the preservation period ends, it completely fails the retention requirement. Hiding a file in the ceiling is treated exactly the same as throwing it into an incinerator.
So the crucial point here is knowing how to actually handle records correctly. The compliant path is simple. Step 1, wait for the applicable preservation period to end. Step 2, if you ever must delete something early, ensure a compliant, preserved, or reconstructible record remains. You simply cannot destroy or delete before retention ends, when no reconstructible backup exists. Section 4, Rapid Fire Exam Recap. Let's hammer home the top 3 takeaways you need to absolutely dominate this on test day.
Takeaway number 1. Falsification equals causing inaccuracy. Treat creating, altering, or causing an inaccurate record as falsification. You don't need a pen to falsify. Just causing the inaccuracy, like spilling that iced coffee, totally counts.
Takeaway number 2. Improper maintenance. A current record is incomplete when a required field is missing. Missing a single required detail is a complete failure to maintain the record.
Takeaway number 3. Improper retention means destroying early, deleting early, concealing or making inaccessible. Remember those ceiling tiles? An inaccessible file is just as bad as a burned one.
And this brilliantly illustrates our final question. If you cause an inaccuracy, miss a detail, or hide a file, well, you definitely aren't compliant. But if you understand exactly why those actions fail the rules, are you ready to pass the Series 99? Yes, you are. Just understand that the entire system relies on an accurate, complete, and accessible record trail, and you'll easily spot these exam traps. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Go check out CertFuel. Whatever you do, don't be like Ollie, and good luck out there.